Hello, my name is AJ Pruitt and I'm the author of the Anathalian series, and in this video I'm going to do a book review. Before I do the review, I want to say it's really important to review books. There may be a book that nobody else knows about and you get it and you just love it, and if you don't review it, no one else is going to know. There are great books out in the world that don't have many reviews simply because they're not known yet. So if you read a book, review a book. And the other way goes too. If you read a book and you realize it's not a good book and it doesn't have reviews, let people know. Whatever the case, let people know by leaving your review if it's a great book they need to read or not. Okay, I have my second born child with me and he's crazy, so he's going to be screaming, I'm sure. So the book I'm going to review today is called Unforeseen. I'm sorry. It's called Unforeseen by Jeff Jones. So the genre, I think it's speculative fiction, which explores the what if. It has aspects of time travel. It kind of references back to the Screwtape letters and A Christmas Carol. It's political. It contains real world references, and it seeks to expose truth for what it is. It's Christian speculative fiction. It's a short book, too. It's about 100 pages. I read it in, I think, 2 days. Once you get to a point in the book, like, you can't really stop reading. It's one of those books that you're like, okay, I need to know what happens. And I just, like, read it voraciously. So the audience would be adult. For the subject matter, meaning, like, this happens to adults. It's things adults think about, kids don't really care about. It has a higher level vocabulary, and it has about 5 to 10 curse words, depending on what you think is a curse word, where you are in the world. It had like a British sense to it, and so there were some British curse words that Americans are like, I don't think that's a curse word. So 5 to 10 curse words, whatever that means to you. So my summary of Unforeseen is Stephen is given the opportunity to travel back in time and make changes to better the present. Stephen takes this opportunity, and he believes his 3 choices in the past will better the modern world. When he returns to the present, though, Stephen sees a different outcome than he expected. So the story has the positives. The story has clear influence from the Screwtape letters and A Christmas Carol, and yet it uses those aspects in a unique way so the story feels like its own. So like I said in my summary, he goes back in time and he makes 3 choices that he believes are going to better the present. And so it's kind of like the reverse of A Christmas Carol, because in A Christmas Carol he goes back in his past. No, he doesn't. And I'm thinking of the movies and I'm thinking of the books, and there's so many adaptations. He goes and sees what could be, what could happen if he doesn't change his actions in the present. That's in the Christmas Carol, and so he does change. In this one, he goes back in time because he thinks he can make his present, his right now, better, and his future better. And so it's different. It doesn't make you be like, oh, this is like the Christmas Carol, because it's modern times and the choices are very different. Like I said, it's quite political in a sense. Oh, catch my child before he drops on the floor. Stop doing daring things. At least right now. Stop biting me, please. So, it feels like A Christmas Carol because of those things. Hush, sweetie. Hey. He's crazy. And it also has influence from the Screwtape letters. And I don't think I'm going to elaborate on that because it kind of gives things away. But I'm so sorry. So, moving on to my next positive. The story is political in a sense, but it's focused more on truth behind the politics, behind the political topics, and it kind of focuses on depoliticizing, I don't know if that's a word, depoliticizing them, to be what they really are. And like, okay, I'm not going to get too political in this video. I'm not going to say my views or whatever. But anybody can make anything political. And it's just like, it's it's tedious how people can make absolutely anything political when it doesn't have to be. And this book kind of brings that up. That's like, these are issues of truth and not truth. Not issues we should be thinking about, oh, this is politics, and so you need to make a stand this way or that way. It's not. It's like truth or not truth. And when we make things political, we forget what's true. And this book, hey, belly button, this book brings that out. So, my next positive of the book, the story brings social issues to a personal level to show that making these human choices into social issues... Oh, you bit my belly button. Sorry. That making these human choices into social issues dehumanizes them. The book upholds truly valuing human life rather than enabling people to do what feels good or what makes them happy, which leads to a continual, futile search for satisfaction. I'm not laughing at that. That's a serious thing. My toddler just banged his head against the ottoman. On purpose. But I really appreciate that in the book. That it's not about the politics. It's about humanity, being humans, and figuring out the truth of valuing one another. And I very much appreciated that. And then the next positive, most of the arguments were solid and the reasoning was well explained. I don't think I can elaborate on that without giving spoilers, but I agreed with the viewpoints of this book, but I feel like if someone who didn't agree with the viewpoints of this book read this book, they might see things differently. I don't know if it could persuade them to the other side because I agreed with this book, so it's hard to say. But I think it might open their eyes a little bit. So whatever political views you believe, whatever social issues you're passionate about, I think this book would be a good one to read in order to help you understand your views or help you maybe see a different point of view. So another positive that's in the same line of that. The ideas, theology, and examples and were biblical and logical. So the book is Christian, and so it's coming at things from a Christian standpoint of truth and how, like I said, it just kind of depoliticizes everything and just is like, this is truth. And when you try to deny its truth, it just doesn't make sense. And all of that was really solid. There was no like crazy thoughts, crazy ideas. It all went back to like what God says in the Bible. And plain logic. Man, okay. There was one example that the author pulled from history that was like, whoa. And I can't tell you because that's revealing it. But the ringtone at the beginning that connected to something later, that was a good one. That was a good one, okay? That was a really good one. And maybe only the author knows, or if you've read this book, you know. But if you should read the book so you know what I mean about the ringtone. Really good. And my next positive, the Dolan character is well done. No spoilers there. The Dolan character is well done. He was the most characterized of all the characters. He had a specific personality, and it was just very clear who he was, what he looked like, everything. His gestures, his posture, his everything was very clear. Okay, next positive. Lots of positives. The plot itself was very intriguing. The main premise that you could travel back in time to make a better today is very interesting, but watching it play out and seeing how Stephen's choices affected him, it was convicting and it was sad. And like, you just kind of ate it up. Like, it seems like the best books are like, this is terrible, and it's emotional and it really makes you think. And that's what this book did. It was really emotional, really terrible, and it really made you think. Please don't stand in the wagon. Hey, can you please get down? Can you please get down so you don't hurt yourself? Okay, my next positive. I did cry. The idea of one mistake taking the life of someone you care about got me. And again, I can't elaborate because of spoilers, but it really got me. It really got me. The language was uniquely descriptive, and the style worked well for the story. That was my last positive. So the negatives of the book. The proofreading and editing could have been more polished. I did notice a few story inconsistencies. Things weren't quite lined up, and quite a few general tense and punctuation errors that pulled me out of the story. I usually don't mark the editing down in my negatives, but if it's enough that it like pulls you out of the story and like makes my brain be like, okay, this is how I can fix this in my editing mode, then I do not dock it, because like it pulls you out of the story, and so it lessens the effect of the story. So it wasn't anything that a few rounds of proofreading and editing could have helped, but it did pull you out of the story. My only other negative is some of the dialogue and character actions felt contrived or set up rather than natural. Those parts did make the message come through, but if more time was spent making the dialogue and responses natural, the impact could have been even deeper. So it felt like, if that didn't make sense, it felt like when you write a book, often you want to make a certain point and you want to get to a certain place, and so you make your characters do certain things, and so sometimes they end up feeling like they are that they are simply characters put there to make a point, and the book is kind of that. But I think this could have been, the story could have spent more time with the characters, like working through what happens and working through with the dialogue. Like, simply, kind of a simple example of when Stephen goes back in time, or when he comes back to the present, he meets somebody, and he says, like, just the right question to get just the right answer, to get just the right conversation going. And it, like that, it just felt very contrived. Like, I know someone's writing this, and I know they want me to hear this. And so if the author had just spent a little bit more time making it feel natural and making it, he fell out of the wagon. I told you that was going to happen. If the author had spent just a little bit more time, like, making the flow of conversation get there in a more natural way, it could have been more impactful, because it would have felt not like, oh, this author wants me to learn something, but, like, it would have felt real. And you would have been even more like, oh, wow. And that was the part that made me cry, I think. That was the one that made me cry. So it was still really good, but it could have been even better with that. And you felt that sort of contrived nature of it. But those are my only negatives. Only those two things. And overall, he fell out of the wagon again. Overall, it was a convicting story that urges readers to remember God's way is best. Yeah, and I thought it was very unique, very interesting, very compelling, very thought out argument of, like, forgetting about, like, how political we can be, and instead, like, going back to truth and focusing on truth and humanity. And another big point in the story, without spoiling anything, was like how when something's not personal to you, like, I don't want to bring up politics. If something's not personal to you, then you don't really care. Like, I don't care about sports. And so when the Super Bowl comes around, I've got all these people around me being like, oh, these people better win, oh, these people better win. And I just don't care who wins the Super Bowl. And it doesn't make me feel anything. And it's the same way with a political issue. Like, when someone is dealing with a choice that you feel strongly about, but they're not, like, personal to you, you're kind of like, oh, well, I don't really care what they do in their life, because it doesn't affect me. Like, I care about this issue, but because it's this distant person, like, I can say whatever I want. I can say they can do this or do that, and it's just an issue to me. It's just a thought to me. But when someone in your life is dealing with that issue, like, it becomes personal. I know, kind of unrelated to the book, there's been something in my life where all my life, like, you're like, oh, this is the right answer with this person who does this terrible, wicked thing. You're like, this is the right answer. No decision. And then someone in your life does it, and you're like, but they're a person. Should we give them a chance? And the book kind of does that. It kind of makes you be like, but they're a person. Shouldn't we give them a chance? And it makes Stephen, the main character, do that instead of just being like, oh, I'm so political and I know the right answer to everything and blah, blah, blah. It's like, but they're a person. Shouldn't we give them a chance? And I really appreciated that about the book, how it made it personal, and it pointed that out, and it made that very clear, how you got to think about it personally before you can really get off your high horse and pride and, like, think about something humanly and with truth. So that is my book review of Unforeseen by Jeff Jones. I definitely recommend reading it. It's very thoughtful, very good. So have you read this book? Have you heard of this book? Do you like that kind of time travel, Christmas Carol, Screwtape letters, like vibe? I don't know. I hate the word vibe. Mood, setting, mashup, whatever you want to call it. Do you like that? Please comment. Please like. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for more book reviews and other things bookish. And thank you very much for watching. Bye. Oh, you're calm now. You're perfectly at peace now. Sweetly playing with your blocks. If you want to know more about Anna Thalian or H.A. Pruitt, please follow me on Instagram at H.A. Pruitt. You can find me on Amazon as an Amazon author, H.A. Pruitt. Please watch my YouTube channel and all my cool videos on my channel, H.A. Pruitt Anna Thalian. You can find me on the Facebook page, H.A. Pruitt Anna Thalian. You can follow me on Goodreads by the name H.A. Pruitt and the book Anna Thalian. Or you can go to my website where so much cool stuff about Anna Thalian is. The website is hapruitt.com.